We're back on Freshwaves. We're talking with Laurie Mountford about her home, her house for seniors. And we were just talking before the break a little bit about how we would come back and talk about the old ways. Now, the old ways, and I can say that, I'm your host, Bren Masson of the Old Ways. Okay. But way back, actually, it still happens today in many cultures, not ours in particular, but the seniors move in with the families. Mm-hmm. So therefore, they are living in a family environment. Many times they end up with a bedroom on the main floor or what they call the nanny suite or the in-laws suite, whatever they call it. But it's usually a place that's accessible to the heart and the hub of the family, which is what we were just talking about, your family room, your sunroom, your kitchen, the dining room, those areas. But they have their own space. But they're really an integral part of a family environment.
Exactly.
So is that kind of what you guys are doing with your new home?
Well, it really is quite like that because it's 9 people that, do get to know each other and they eat together, and whether they socialize, between meals and that kind of thing is their option. But yeah, it is. They're very much a part of, the whole daily structure and that kind of thing because, the staff are phenomenal. They have great sense of humors and they get people involved and that kind of thing. So, yeah, and obviously take care of their health concerns too. But, it is. It really is a family environment.
That's really neat. So how do you... I don't know how to say this without sounding mean. How do you vet people coming in? Because if you're coming into a family environment...
Exactly.
And... you could get that one rogue
yes.
that doesn't really fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you deal with that? Do you actually screen people beforehand and say,
Definitely.
well, their personality seems like they would fit with our family?
Yes. Well, when we do an assessment, it is a two-way street. We find that the family and, if the prospective client is able to, we like them to come to the home as well to check us out and see if this is something that, the family and, the potential resident thinks that they would, fit into and enjoy, what we offer. Mm-hmm. But in the same thing, we've got to go and make sure it's a good fit for us as well. Because, again, if it's somebody, and I hate to say it, with a memory problem that, there could be some behavioral issues, it just, in such a small environment, it just wouldn't work. It would be far too upsetting to everybody. So, I do quite a good assessment to, make sure that it's somebody that, again, would, be suitable for us as well.
Right. So it would benefit them, but benefit your
Exactly. It's got to be a two-way street.
Yes. And you are in a smaller space.
Oh, we are.
It's not like you can go and get lost on the 5th floor.
No, not so much.
There isn't. Okay. So, can you accommodate husbands and wives?
We do have one room that is suitable for a couple. So, yes, we can. It's in use at the moment by a couple. But the other rooms would be more of a typical bedroom size of, but not the master. So it really is more suitable for one person in the other rooms.
Okay. So at any one time, you basically have one couple as opposed to most people are couples living there. So how does it work for the kind of family environment where sort of everybody is pitching in? I know you have someone that cooks, but if you're the kind of hands-on senior who really likes to participate in all of the daily activities of just normal, there's that word again, regular human life, can you participate in a little bit of cleanup or a little bit of kitchen help and things like that?
Yes. We do have people who they've always enjoyed cooking, and although I must admit, if somebody wanted to take it over from me at any point in time, that would be just fine. But we do have people who, they'll come and they'll peel the potatoes or, cut up some green beans or, different things like that, or fold napkins or fold fold some laundry, that kind of thing. I mean, we don't obviously, make you do these things.
You don't put up a chores list like I used to. And I have 4 kids, so I assigned each kid a day.
Absolutely.
So it's not like, Myrna, it's your day and you gotta help out.
No. This would only be if somebody wanted to, and then absolutely we'd like to make, people feel that they're contributing if that's what they want to do.
Okay. Well, we have had some questions from listeners. And again, Jay, how do people get a hold of us if they're wanting to ask Laurie some questions this morning?
Yeah, on Facebook, you can join our Facebook page there, Freshwaves on Whistle FM. We're also on Twitter at Freshwaves Radio. And give us a call anytime, 905-640-1027.
Thanks, Jay.
No problem.
Well, we've had a question from Mary, and she writes... what did you need to do extra to outfit the home to be senior friendly?
Oh, okay. Initially,
I imagine that's a long list.
Yeah. Well, initially, it was really, furnishing the rooms and making them, again, I guess, with the addressable beds and TV and telephone, those kinds of things. But the fire department has their own set of things, which is, quite reasonable. And so we actually did have to do, and this wasn't initially, but this was, good grief, I think it was about 6 years ago, we put an indoor sprinkler system, which was no small task.
No, I can imagine.
Yes. So we have, I think there's 59 sprinkler heads, including our crawl space, and 4 huge tanks of water. Even though we have a pond, a stream, a pool, and a well, we also have 4 huge tanks in our basement now for the sprinkler system. So that was a big undertaking. The other thing we had to do is because we do have a second floor, which is accessible by a chairlift that is only done with supervision. But we had to get a second means of egress or a second means of exit off of the second floor. So we built an exit off of one of the areas in that room that has a landing, 2 landings, and then staircase down and an evacuation chair. So we did have to make sure that all that was in place.
Those sound like really expensive additions.
They were. And, that was the year you make a decision, okay, if we're going to go forward, we have to be compliant, and we're going to have to put another, good investment in this business and the company. And, definitely, the company and what we do was definitely all very worthwhile.
So when you put in that exit outside, I'm trying to envision it. It's stairs.
It is.
As well as a chair.
Well, there's an evacuation chair that's in a closet just inside the door, so that if we did have to evacuate anyone from that area, we would put them on the evacuation chair, and then it's like a self-propelling thing that, it's an interesting
little gadget.
Yes, exactly. But it does control the speed. You can control the speed, the person operating it, so that they can take the person down, slow enough that, and it's also, the weight is on this tracking as opposed to, the person taking them down. So it's an interesting thing.
So it allows you to basically slide someone down the stairs.
Yes.
They don't have to run necessarily.
Would be sitting sort of on a reclined chair would be probably the best way to describe it. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's not.
But that doesn't sound like a speedy exit anyway.
Well, with our fire drills and that kind of thing, we've got this down to a science where, depending where people are in the building, and we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 exits off of the main level. So,
right.
Again, depending, and we've got, the 2 means upstairs. So really with the fire drills and everything, depending where people are and the time of day and all that kind of thing, we've got that one figured out pretty well.
We're
great. Also licensed by the RHRA, which is the Retirement Home Regulatory Authority, which has put in tons of regulations in the last few years as well. And so we have to follow the very same rules and regulations as any other large retirement home. So if you've got 300 beds and we only have 9 beds, we have the same rules and regulations to follow, which is quite a process to get compliant and in place and everything, but we are.
That's terrific. Okay, so what else? so far we've got exits and sprinklers. Anything else that you had to put in the house that would normally not be in a residential home in the middle of a subdivision?
Yeah, we've got a couple of ramps as well. We do have a beautiful eating area outside with an outdoor kitchen that they're just coming out the doorway. There was like little ramps and that kind of thing that make it much easier for walkers and wheelchairs to go down. And let me think. Was there any
hand railings you mentioned at one point?
We do have, grab bars in the washrooms. Mm-hmm. We do also have
now grab bars. You would put those in the bathtub, or
they're in the bathrooms and in the shower areas, and by the toilet and that kind of thing. So we've got those kind of things. I mean, we've got depending on if people need commode or, transfer bench or whatever. We've got all those type of things as well.
And you have a lift, you said?
We do. We have a ceiling lift that the tracking is in all of the bedrooms, so that if we do have someone in that is a little too much more than a one-person transfer,
right,
then we can use the lift to assist people to get into a wheelchair. And we also have the tracking upstairs right by the staircase, so that somebody can be lifted into the stair lift, and then again the tracking's at the bottom of the stair lift to put them into the wheelchair. So really, it doesn't matter what bedroom you're in, you're certainly
you have access to the entire house.
Around. Yes.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
All right, so the PSW, which again, for anyone who doesn't know, is a personal support worker.
Yes.
Is that they stay overnight?
No. We have shifts during the day. We've got a very high ratio of care per resident. Mm-hmm. For the most part, we have about 3 personal support workers on for most of the waking hours. And
you have 9 residents.
And we have 9 residents, which is, it's not one-on-one, but it's,
that's
it
really
is a high
good.
level. Yes.
As opposed for 3 for 30 kind of thing.
Yes, and we have 1 awake staff overnight. Yeah, and then we also do have 1 personal support worker that does live in our basement, and she's there as also an emergency backup for the overnight period. So if anything, with either the personal support worker on duty or one of the residents that was demanding a lot of attention and time, they would be able to get the other person up in the basement and ask for their assistance.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. So I can sleep at night knowing that everything's good at the house.
Yeah.
And I'm available 24/7 if they ever need any questions answered, or if there's anything going on I should know about.
Isn't that something? And you just kind of stumbled upon this.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I really, as I say, when I was working in Toronto as a recruiter, I had no idea where life would take me. But anyway, I definitely have a great love of dealing with seniors, and so it just sort of mushroomed.
Wow. Well, it's time for us to take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Laurie about country home services, country living in Stouffville. We are a great town. You're listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Brenda Masson, and this is a Whistle FM production.
Like your music on the mellow side? Join me, Jim Corrigan, every Friday night at 10 o'clock for a night flight. We feature traditional and contemporary instrumental jazz, as well as the crooners of yesterday and song stylists of today. We blend the older and the newer. It's a show designed with you in mind. 2 great times, Friday nights at 10 o'clock. We repeat the show Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, right here on the new Whistle FM 102.9, streaming online at whistleradio.ca.
Is Mommy going to be here, Grandma?
I'm sure she'll be here, sweetheart. She's not picking up.
She can't be doing this again. She already missed her birthday dinner. She can't miss the first recital.
Do you think our daughter is drinking again?
Problem drinking hurts families and friends, but there's help and hope. Al-Anon family groups are for anyone troubled by someone else's drinking. For a meeting near you, call 1-888-4-Al-Anon. A message from Al-Anon family groups.
We are back on Fresh Waves. We're talking with Laurie about Country Home Services, which is a senior's house in Stouffville. Because it is a house that's a home. When you say senior's home, people's minds instantly go to these large institutions. Yours is not. It's a house. You have 9 residents. This is a really nice thing. Now, the World Health Organization has deemed that there are, well, in the past, 3 necessities of life. Food, shelter, and water. Water, food, and shelter. Water, food, and shelter. I'm looking for Jason for confirmation as I have a total brain freeze. Water, food, and shelter. They now say that there are 4 necessities, especially for seniors. Water, food, shelter, and connection. Mm-hmm. So the old idea of having Grandma and Grandpa move into the house, or often it's just Grandma or just Grandpa, move into your house. Mm-hmm. In a modern day society where we have both parents working, kids are off at school, they come home from school sometimes they go right from school to outdoor activities that mom and dad are driving them to. One senior could quite potentially be alone for 12 hours in a day by themselves. And if they're not driving,
happens all
they've
the time.
got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a big move by the government because it is cost effective to keep seniors in their quote unquote home. Mm-hmm. But it seems to me like your idea is a lot better. Then they have connection. They've got people there.
Yeah. I mean, again, it depends on the individual, but, you know, especially somebody who's been quite social in their life and that kind of thing, yes, it could be quite isolating.
Yes,
Yeah.
when they're by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's so true what you say. I mean, it's called the sandwich generation of, you know, people with very busy lives, but their parents still, you know, are alive and sometimes need some assistance. And, yeah, it can be very hard on, well, the person who is actually has the elderly parent, but also definitely on the elderly person.
Right. And when it comes to being isolated, nobody wants to really for any long period of time.
Exactly.
And there are statistics that are saying that it can increase your life expectancy by 5 to 10 years. That's a lot when
It
you're
is.
75.
It is. Well, you can only talk in your head for so long, I guess, and then you want to talk to
Exactly.
somebody else.
Well, I get sick of my own opinion all the time. So this sounds like a
true.
really nice way of being connected.
It is. And, you know, as I mentioned before, the sense of humor is in the house and that kind of thing. I mean, again, this, even though we are a registered retirement home, I think because of our environment, and because people have been there for so long and we get to know the residents, you know, very well, you know, the joking and the, you know, people just, you know, seem to be themselves and relaxed and able to say and, you know, what they want and that kind of thing. So we have a lot of fun that way.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, from the time that I was there, it's only once, but I had a great time.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
must honestly say, I had a great time.
Well, we do. I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, just something silly that happened the other morning is, I remember something came on TV and there was a song on, and next thing you know, Maria, one of our personal support workers, starts wanting to dance and brought one of the gentlemen, the residents up, and next thing you know, they're waltzing in the living room. I mean, you know, it's just silly things that happen, you know, during the day that, you know, unpredictable, but everybody seems to get a good laugh.
We sure do.
And that's actually a great thing because we also know that laughter is just a fantastic medicine, isn't it? It just makes you
Exactly.
feel so much better.
Yes. And one other thing we do have at the house that I must admit, I question sort of who they like better, myself or my dog. But anyway.
Oh, you have a dog.
We do. We have a mini golden doodle named Bear. And Bear actually lives with me, but when I come in the morning, Bear comes with me to the house. And Bear's 3 years old and just loves people. He's actually a St. John's therapy dog now, too.
Oh, great.
So when Bear comes in, everybody's, oh, it's Bear. And I sort of a couple seconds later, it's got, oh, hi, Laurie. Yeah. I'm an afterthought, but that's okay.
Well, they say even for single men, right? The best thing you can do is get a dog.
Exactly.
Because the girls will come up and talk to you through your dog.
Through the dog.
Okay, so you have Bear.
Yes.
And does everyone like him?
Most people do. I mean, certainly there'd be some people who have had dogs in the past or just like dogs more than others and everything. But, again, when we do the assessment, we let them know that, there's a dog that will be coming to the home, quite a bit. So, if somebody is, very afraid of dogs or something like that, they would know up front that, that would happen. But most people, when we've got a few residents that, again, I mean, I hate to say, but Bear can get on the couch if they want
Bear.
him to. So, yeah, he'll sit there and lay on this one lady's lap with his head on her lap for quite a while. And, and she just adores it. I mean, she had a dog before moving in. And,
right.
She just...
they say that's one of the
sweet.
hardest things for a senior to do is
huge.
to give up their animals.
Huge.
And I know in Denmark they have... certain homes where there is a kennel in the back and the dogs can come with the person. And,
oh, nice.
And it's, but they have a lot of volunteers to help care for the dogs as
Right.
well. But it is a really nice thing.
It is. Unfortunately, we can't have cats or dogs that are not hypoallergenic. We do have, some staff with allergies and, potentially we could have a resident with allergies as well. So Bear is hypoallergenic and that kind of thing. So, yeah, we have to watch that with, like cats or anything like that.
Well, I suppose that would be one of the challenges of your facility is you are in close quarters, you are in a house, and what do you do with people who have sensitivities? If you have a resident who has one of those environmental sensitivities where they can't have any scents around and things like that, can you accommodate that kind of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And, even food allergies are, special dietary restrictions. We adhere to all of them. I mean, if it's gluten-free or, whatever it happens to be, yes, we definitely can accommodate. And yeah, if we get to a resident in or even a staff member that is highly allergic to scents and everything like that, then, again, we post something on the door, just,
Letting people know.
It has to be, yeah, exactly. Scent-free, yes.
Well, it's the same with having a family, isn't it? You would do
It
the
is.
same thing in a family.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Now, I've got another couple of questions here. How long is your waiting list? Because, people are at the stage of their lives now when
Yes.
you go looking around and you get involved with CCAC.
Yes.
And I remember when we were looking, my mom wanted to go to Parkview. And they said CCAC said you need to write down 3 homes. And I said, okay, Parkview, Parkview, and Parkview. And they said, no, that's not how it works.
That's not 3.
You have to write down 3.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want 3. It's Parkview or Parkview. And if that's not available, we'll wait for Parkview. So that's how we went about our search. But there are others who look and they need immediate care and they're on waiting lists that are now 3 and 4 years long.
Yes, that's not unusual.
Wow. So how about your place?
Well, we do have, people come in to have a look and want their name on a waiting list. But as I've said, I mean, our turnover is very low. So really, somebody could be waiting with us for quite a while or, you never know.
Tomorrow afternoon there could be something
Exactly.
come up.
We've had, as I say, something happened where someone moves or passes away and we have a room available and we go back to the waiting list and everybody's found something. Yeah, but it might be the person who was looking last week that we call them back and say, by the way, we do have a room available now.
Mm-hmm. So what about the nursing care that you would get at a larger facility? Do you have something like that at your place, or
no? We don't have PSWs at our home.
So you don't have a nurse that's there 24/7.
No, we don't. But how we have got nursing care in is through CCAC, which is now the Lynn. And what happens if it's wound care or anything really that needs nursing care? Then they come in through CCAC.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you can call them like you would call a doctor.
Yeah, we usually, the family arranges that because, quite often if it's a wound care or something like that, it might be somebody coming in from the hospital, and that'll be set up before they even come in. Or physio. We have people coming in from the hospital, or maybe they've had a fall or something like that, but they've been getting services through CCAC, or they need them, and so they get assessed, and so the physio or occupational therapy can come into the home and provide the services that they would if they were even at home.
Yeah, if they were at their own house. Kind
exactly.
of thing. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
And of course, if you do need a nurse or doctor, you can, I guess, do you guys have a way of taking them to a doctor?
Well, we have a doctor that comes to our home. It's our facility doctor, and Dr. Sarah Alcalaf. Yeah, she was wonderful, and she's just around the corner, and so she comes to the home once a month to check on our residents. So it's just fabulous. And she's good enough that if somebody really can't get to her, if they are, bedridden or whatever, that she will come to the home to make a house call.
Isn't that nice?
I know. She's
the old house call thing.
I know, exactly. Imagine that.
Yes. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And we do have a hairdresser that comes in once a week, and that's an optional, service we provide, as well as a chiropodist as well, Donna Schufelt from Stouffville Family Foot Care, and she is fantastic as well, and great sense of humor. She really gets people laughing too. She is. And she's good enough. She comes in every 6 weeks and assists, and that's another optional service, but a great one that we're very happy that she provides.
Isn't that terrific?
Mm-hmm.
So I have noticed, I have to mention this because cold and flu season happens.
Oh, yes.
I was involved in an activity where we were taking seniors out to an event, and the whole thing fell apart because the seniors, it was a retirement residence that we were dealing with, and they went under lockdown. They had a flu virus going through, and that meant nobody in, nobody out.
Yes.
And that's a huge facility. We're talking 10-story apartment building type of facility. So what do you do in your instance when the flu hits? Because it does.
All right. Where's some wood? Touch wood. Thanks, Jason, for having a nice wooden piece on your desk. We've never had a lockdown. The residents do get the flu shot once a year. If any of the residents or the staff have a cold, the staff obviously don't come in if they've got the flu or a cold. And as far as the residents, if we showing symptoms and that kind of thing, obviously we isolate them a little bit more to the room and bring their meals to their room and that kind of thing until we're sure that, everybody else is okay to be around them. So thank heaven, since 2005, we have not had one period where we've had a bit of an outbreak or more than 2 people with a cold or a flu bug or anything like that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Smaller environment,
you can control things a little bit better.
It is easier, yes.
And
we
keep
are
things clean. Yeah. Clean freaks is good. So you have a cleaning staff or cleaners that come in?
We do have, yes.
And I suppose there's some regulations you have to adhere to in that department as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And the food people come in and check you out and make sure that you're not holding moldy cheese and things like that.
Good grief, yes. And it's funny when I say that, say for instance, one of our personal support workers who could be working with a client in the morning, wearing gloves, obviously, and everything. There's a lot of hand washing going on before, she may go in and help make lunch. So lots of hand washing going on and sanitization and things.
So you're really clean oriented.
We are.
That's a good thing for people to know if they're making that consideration.
Yeah. And I think the fact that we've never had an outbreak, that says volumes for...
Grab that wood again?
Yep, there it is. Yep, perfect.
Okay. Well, then that would actually ask, my next question is, can people visit and who can visit? Because often these things are brought in by the little kids.
Yeah. We just don't have visitors, so that makes it simple. Yeah. No. We've always said when people say, what are your visiting hours and things, I just said, as far as I'm concerned, it's the resident's home. And as long as they want to see you, then come on over. That's, we have no set visiting hours. I mean, certainly we give people an indication around meal times and that kind of thing, but,
or 4 in the morning,
Well, yeah, if you're, parent or whatever really wants to see you at 4 in the morning and watch it in their room, I guess it's okay. But no.
By and large, it's just more really like a reasonable, just think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can they have a guest for dinner?
They can, yes. And, I hate charging for things like that, to be honest. It drives me crazy. So there's a very nominal charge, usually of about $5 or $7, if, again, if somebody's going to be staying for dinner. And, to be quite honest, quite often, I must admit, we never even ask, but, just to set a standard though that, again, if somebody's family member or something decided they wanted to come every night for dinner because they like the food so much,
you'd have to charge
we
them
would
for
have to
it
charge
because
something.
you have a hard cost in that food preparation and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds really great. Well, we're at the top of the hour now. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Laurie about the country home. Not country home services, but country home. It is a home in the country for seniors. What a great topic of conversation. You're listening to Fresh Waves here on Whistle FM, and we'll be back right after this, so stay tuned.